Hey everyone, today we'll be recreating these photos I found. It is my parents. Their 25th anniversary is coming up, and my mom wanted me to make a video of them consisting of old pictures. And so when I was looking through the old photos, I actually found these, and I really like the aesthetic of it, I guess, and just how they look. That vintage retro look, I would say, just out of an old camera. And today we're going to be recreating that in Lightroom. The way that I recreate a look is first by breaking down the look I want to create. So first we're going to see what goes into making this photo. So when recreating a look, the first thing you always want to consider is how it was taken. When looking at this photos, you can tell by the highlights and the shadows on the faces that it's with a hard flash right directly on the subject. So when recreating this look, that's something we have to make sure we do when taking the photos. Another thing to consider is looking at the angle of it. Both of these photos are shot at eye level, and that is always common when taking unformal pictures of just family members or just things throughout your day. You just shoot from head level. The angle being head on is something we're familiar with and adds to a nostalgic feeling. So that is very important when shooting the photos. Now for the look itself, I think it's low in contrast and there's some reds in the shadows. I'm not sure if you'll be able to tell through the screen, but having the photo right in front of me, I can definitely see grain, some vignetting, some reds in the shadows. It doesn't look like reds are in the highlights too much. The skin tones do look more toward to being magenta. Right here you can see a lot of grain, and it does get darker in the corners. That's what vignetting is. Without further ado, let's jump into Lightroom. Okay, so I have quite a few self-portraits here. Out of all of them, I think one of these ones are the most candid feeling. We're gonna go with this one. See how it's eye level, it's a hard flash, and it's very candid, like someone just took my picture out of nowhere. First things first, we have to fix the white balance. I'm wearing a white shirt, but it is definitely blue. What I do is just go like this, and like that, perfectly. Now looking at the photo, let's reduce the contrast. Bring up the shadows a tad bit. And knock down the highlights. I want to make the image look softer, so I'm going to play around with the texture and clarity and see which ones, how it affects and see which one is best. I think by using clarity, only affecting the midtones is best, and it softens the shadows on my skin. Okay, I think in the photo, colors are more muted, so we're gonna drop the vibrance. Bring up the saturation because it's not that dull. So this is the before and after so far, besides the white balance. I made a virtual copy down here so that when we go before and after, we don't see that dramatic change in the white balance. Okay, moving on to the tone curves. I think it has a matte finish, so how you do that is by creating an S-curve, but by bringing these ends up. Yeah, definitely looking like it now. You can see how my skin tones drastically got darker, so we'll have to fix that back up here. A good way to add reds is by going into the red curve this time, and to isolate the shadows, what I like to do is just click right here and right there, so that everything now on this side won't be affected as much, at least when I pull up the reds on this side. I think that's a nice little touch. I'll show you guys deeper. Look right here in this area when we turn off the tone curves. It adds a matte finish, and there's like a subtle little red, which is really good. I think that's honestly really spot on. I think using the curves instead of split toning for this aspect does the job very well. So I think we got a good foundation for this photo. I don't want you guys have to sit here anytime longer, so I'm going to speed up the process of me fine-tuning it. Alright, so now we're back. Took a little break because when you're editing a photo for quite a while, it's good to rest your eyes. And then I returned to it, made a few more adjustments. I think it's good to go. So here it is. What I like to do when I have it to get a fresh look is just to copy the settings and paste it on a new photo. And hopefully it turns out good. This one looks good. So let's see the magic happen when I press paste. Boom. I honestly really like the look, but here's the breakdown for you. I had to up the exposure a tad bit because the tone curve dropped down some of the skin tones, and then I increased the shadows so they're not as harsh, and then lowered the clarity and texture so it has a softer look. I lowered the vibrance so some of the colors are a bit more muted, but upped the saturation so it's not completely dull. I matted the shadows and highlights with an S curve. Used the red curve to bring some reds in the shadows. Here's the before and after of this little part. For the colors, I did not really adjust them. I think they're good as is. I don't really have a lot of colors in here, so we'll have to shoot more and test out this preset, and I'll probably make a few more adjustments. But with this picture, I didn't really have to make a lot of color adjustments. For split toning, I added some cyan to the highlights a little bit because they looked a bit too red, and I added more reds into the shadows to counteract the highlights I added. Lens correction, I didn't really do that because I don't think that was possible for older cameras. Nothing in transform effects. I added some grain and some vignetting. Here's the before and after for this. I'm getting closer so you guys can see the grain. One thing I would do differently is shoot at a lower ISO at a higher ISO when taking the picture, so you have more noise when you actually want more noise in the photo to give it that feeling. Then for calibration, affected the blue primary to -12 to make the skin tones a bit more red, and added a tint of magenta into the shadows. And this is what you get. Do need to test out this preset on other photos, and you guys will get the fine-tuned one down in the description below. If you guys like it, please tag me or please mention me. I would love to see your work and see what kind of photos you take with this preset. My name is Arao, and yeah, I'm a videographer and photographer, and if you like videos like this, please consider subscribing and liking the video. It does help out my channel. But that's it, guys. Have fun, keep on creating. I will see you in the next one. Bye.